I thought I'd make hair a thing this holiday season. What do you think, Brooke?
Wow. Wow. What is this? It's like you're wearing a blanket of hair. Tell
Yeah,
me about her.
I'm feeling my
What's her
fantasy.
story? Where did she come from?
I think I'm Stevie Nicks' like love child daughter. Um,
Yes, yes. Big
this
Stevie Nicks energy.
yeah, this look is named what my perfume would be called, which is feigned innocence.
I
Like, I'm not innocent, but I play innocent on TV, you know.
yes, it's that. It's you know what it is? It's the collar. What is the name of that collar?
Oh yeah, so this is sort of an exaggerated Peter Pan collar. Sometimes
Yes.
it's also called a Bertha.
No.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
you
it's
know how
very like Little House on the Prairie, but queer.
it is. Now, girl, you longtime viewers may remember that we disambiguated ruffles and flounces early on an earlier episode.
It was a multi-episode discussion.
It was. So to continue on with that, girl, here's your pop quiz. Is this a ruffle or a flounce layer?
I think that's a ruffle layer.
You are correct. Ding, 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 ding.
Ah!
Yes! The mug's in the mail, girl. Oopsie coopsie.
What time with Eileen?
Yeah, we just give each other surprise contests and then mail mugs back and forth.
The same mug. It's
Yeah.
just the same mug.
Like coffee stains.
Girl, you look breathtaking. You gotta have a stand. We gotta see the whole outfit, and then I'll talk through my giving up look that I'm serving tonight.
I'm gonna carry my caffeine-free Diet Coke with me because I feel like that's part of all of this moment that you're bearing witness to.
Yes.
Because I am an old, but today I'm dressed as a youth. So this is my like Lost in the Woods kind of very sensible baby doll length.
Yes, that's great for getting lost in the woods.
Professional length. And this hair that is like almost down to my butt.
Oh wow, but look at her go. Shake a little bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always kind of wanted to grow out lavender hair this long, but it's like it's not in the cards for any of us. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine the breakage of getting...
Oh yeah, no. I mean, my hair like stops growing eventually.
Yeah, I can't
like,
even get my virgin, they call it virgin hair if it's like been untreated in any way. I can't even get my virgin hair to go to my shoulder. It just starts like, you know what I mean? Like it's just all split ends at the bottom. But yeah, so here's my Peter Pan Bertha. It's kind of like a Chelsea collar, if you've heard of those. Those are very in right now. But Chelsea's tend to go down here and then, so it's like a V neckline with a ruffle. With a ruffle collar. Peter Pan's and Bertha's go all the way up to the top. They're very modest. Ugh. Because, Brooke, as you know, my modesty is very, very important to me.
I love that. I love that for us. I really do.
Yeah.
Keeping with modesty, my look tonight it was a really long day and I have a cross-country flight tomorrow. So I am serving Lululemon crop hoodie realness with some sweatpants.
I love a crop hoodie.
I love them. They make me feel like so sexy and cozy at the same time.
Yes. I first saw James Charles do a crop hoodie, so I hated them. And then I tried one on and I realized the great things about crop tops is that if you don't have a lot of topography, like, you know, I'm very like straight up and down. But they accentuate the waist, and then if you wear like a skirt or something that flares, like it's a cute look. It's cute, girl.
Oh, I know. It like makes me look like I have D's, and let's face it, C's. And I have neither. And tonight's dish is shouts to Joseph if you're watching. I am not drinking a Pinot Noir because Mama needed something a little stronger.
Joseph read her to filth, so she's switching it up.
He did.
It's like, what are you
I will be drinking, and this will be my first sip. I'll cheers to you. Anika coffee grain whiskey, which is a Japanese whiskey filtered through coffee grains.
Cool.
Coffee grounds. And it is truly, this is like my weakness.
It sounds delicious. So does it taste like coffee too?
No, it's just like a complex, almost more umami whiskey.
Okay.
Than like a typical whiskey.
I'm into that.
Because the Kentucky bourbons, right, they filter through the water filters through the limestone. Mm-hmm. And the reason, right, the bourbons in Kentucky are that's the only place that you can call a whiskey bourbon, right? So I get it.
Yeah.
But like it just has this like very rich, deep. Yeah, can you smell it?
Hang on. Yeah.
Get
it in there. Just get it in.
So
I wish I could smell it.
Cheers, queers, to surviving the holidays and thriving in
Cheers
2022. We love to see it.
Yeah, it's a tough job surviving. So with that in mind, I mean, this is a complex topic, so we wanted to save as much time as possible to really dig in as much as we can in half an hour. So, Brooke, you know, let's just get right into it. What is a piece of advice that you have for maybe someone who is approaching seeing their family for the first time in a long time, maybe coming out to their family on the holidays? Which, by the way, it's a convenient time to choose, but it's also a complicated time to choose, because if you do it at the beginning of the stay, then you're there with the people you've just come out to. So, I mean, what do you think, girl?
You know, girl, I think my theme of the year is meeting folks where they are.
I like that.
And I don't really, first of all, you will never, I just don't believe in pressuring anyone to come out before they're ready. But whatever you're bringing home, whether it's like your queerness, your non-monogamy, your multiple partners, your polyamory, your
my bankruptcy,
your financial issues,
right.
your job change, whatever the thing is, your kink, which I don't know why you're talking to your mom about your kink. That's a separate conversation. Keep it to yourself.
Sometimes you gotta figure out where it came from. You know what I mean? Like that's just
it's an origin story.
Generational trauma.
You're pulling a Logan on your own kink. You're like, I want to know the backstory, Wolverine. Okay, so like whatever it is, it was a little too inside baseball on the X-Men reference, but you know, you gotta meet folks where they are, and don't expect people, especially right now, to be in the best mental health.
No,
right. So
they're gonna need a minute. You're gonna need a minute, and then remember that they're gonna need
everybody's gonna need a minute. You know, and I treat it like triage. I'm like, who is worth it? Because if, you know, triage on the battlefield, if there's someone with a bleeding from the jugular, they don't save them. They don't save them because they're already gone. Who in your life is already gone? And not like who you can save, not like big white savior energy, but like who is worth repairing something with. And only you can determine that.
Fully. And you know? Also, this is not life or death stakes, right? Like,
right. But well, it might be if you're,
Yeah, I mean,
it might be if you're like in a financial situation that's tied to your family and you're coming out. In that case, I would stay in the closet.
I mean, absolutely. I've given this advice before to young people coming out, you know, at the end of high school, beginning of college, and you're still financially interwoven with your parents. Maybe don't do it yet, you know? Like get as far away as you can, not necessarily geographically, but make sure that you have enough independence to where they're not maybe they don't have access to all of the things that you're doing, right? That like they don't need to know where you are and who you're with and whatever. That's what kind of why FERPA exists, right? The protection of educational records. Mm-hmm. But if you still need that check, like get the check. You know, that's the most important thing is your survival, that you can make it through that stage so you can get fully independent, and then you can do whatever you want. So that's definitely my advice. But there was something else you said. Oh, we were talking about the triage metaphor, and so Dan Savage, a long time ago, he is a fraught reference, I know, very, very controversial, but he said something on Savage Love, like years and years ago, that I really liked, which was, if you have thought about your identity for years, and then you just come out to somebody, they're going to need a certain amount of time to process it themselves. Like, you can't just dump that on them and then expect them to suddenly process it right away and then just be okay, right? So, that's why I would recommend maybe you do it towards the end of the holidays and then you give them a little bit of process time, but not so much that you have to do that heavy lifting while you're still there. Then you guys can leave and then process on your own time and then check in about it later.
And this is like, I don't know. I also think this is outside of like coming out. Like this is just life in general. If like there's news or whatever, like people are just, we're all about 30 points less, or we're all a little bit lower on the energy scale, or our mental health is all a little bit less great than it was last year.
The baseline is like down here. Yeah.
So like, you know, even if it's like, oh my God, like, there's a member of my family who isn't vaccinated, right? Like, is this the hill you're gonna die on? You know, and again, I'm
I
not
do.
saying you shouldn't educate,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying you shouldn't wear masks, and I'm not saying you shouldn't all take precautions.
Yeah.
But like coming in and calling them an anti-vaxxer and telling them they're the reason January 6th happened isn't going to get us anywhere. And it's not. And there was a study about the recent frustration of folks who are not vaccinated, or the vaccinated about the non-vaccinated, right? And like we're all walking into that, and that's bigger right now than anyone's fucking queerness. Like it's so tense, So make sure you just have a plan, both to keep yourself safe, obviously from a health perspective, but also mentally. Because if that's not a situation that you're going to thrive in, and that's not a situation you can handle, like you have every right to say that or not go.
If you're not going to live, laugh, love, then maybe stay home. We were thinking about seeing some family members, having them over, and then we learned that they were not vaccinated because it was all the same stuff, right? Like, well, there hasn't been enough research. It's too new. We haven't. It's like, okay, so the millions
There's literally millions of people have had the vaccine now.
Vaccinated. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna steer around that conversation for the moment, but just preparing for the sort of like acrobatics you have to do to make this okay. So we were talking about it, and finally our sort of response was, hey, if you come down, we're not too comfortable. Monty's dad was still alive, by the way, so we had a 95-year-old to think of. We had a, not going to give away ages, but we had a 60-something-year-old to worry about. So it was a dangerous situation. So we finally said, listen, we're not so comfortable hanging out with people in like public spaces who are vaccinated. But if you want to see each other, vaccinated. Yeah. But who aren't vaccinated, yes. But if you want to see each other for a short, like predefined amount of time with masks on, then great. So that negotiation is just, you have to kind of, sometimes I feel like you have to play nice with your family for whatever reason. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that you have to completely capitulate, right? Yeah. You have boundaries. I like this.
Too. I think it's like discussing your kinks in advance. We've all been there when someone has thrown a kink in that you didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Mask etiquette is the same way as kinks. You can put that on the bumper sticker. It's so accurate. Like, have the conversation in advance. Make sure you bring the right props. Like,
bring your own towels. It's just common courtesy.
Exactly. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, have the conversation in advance if you can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They hosted, bought the pies, and laid down the tarp. So the least that you can do is bring your own towels. It's common fucking courtesy.
Right. But if you don't have the conversation, and then you get there and people are like, well, what do I do? Do I leave it on? And they do the whole dance. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, taking your mask on and off a couple times is not the point.
Yeah. Or if you're like my in-laws, you come to the door straight from the airport, no mask on, open the door, and they just go in. They just go right in for the hug.
Oh, girl. I think it is it's tough. And I think like right now there's also like the triage levels. I have 3 levels, right? So the unsavable ones, right? The broken leg, you can save the relationship. You can work on it. You can heal it.
Yeah.
Or, even if you disagree, you can find common ground. And then that's the paper cut. And the paper cut folks, I'm just like, ouch. You're going to survive. You're going to survive without you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was having this conversation with this white woman, and she was like, I'm the most woke. I'm the most woke of the white. And I was like, oh, this is my work to do. But I'm like, nah, I'm tired right now. I need to have the conversation. It's on my to-do list, right? And there's a friend gathering.
And you're like, I'm so sorry. Your award was supposed to be in the mail. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God, supply chain issues. But you know what I mean? Like, there's also like, you know what I mean? What do you want to tackle? And it also has to be like your holiday too. All right. What is the most ridiculous thing said to you at a holiday gathering?
All right.
Girl. Well, top 3.
Let's bring it back to like early / pre-transition days. So much more trans. Inside joke. We'll talk about that later.
I think we can talk about it now. It's just I like the strands.
Yeah, that's the inside joke. Surprise. Somehow I left it off the bio for the whole channel.
I mean, we're on like episode 45. It's never come up. All right, keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, much more awkward phase of my life, and an uncle of mine, whom we're not going to call it by name, but you know who you are, Jim. I sat down next to him. You know, this is actually challenging too because some of my family watches the show. So like so you have to watch out for the emails afterward. Like, are you okay? Do you want me to send an email to Jim? And I'm like, we're fine. It's a joke.
I guarantee a couple of my relatives are watching. Hey, what's up?
I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, what kind of Tuesday night would this be? So I see Jim in Northwest Indiana in the, you know, like farmhouse with the barn next to it, you know? So it's like, we're definitely, it's not a home game. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, a sports reference. Who is she? And yeah. So I'm sitting next to him on the couch and he's asking me about how college is going. And he's like, in an attempt to connect with me, he says, so, you know, I bet you're a real man's man. I bet the ladies just love you. And I just, my legs that are already crossed, by the way, just like tighten up even more. And I'm just like, I don't know where to start with that. You know, it's like, there's a lot of things wrong with that assumption, Uncle Jim. I didn't have the wig, so.
But you did do this.
Yeah,
still.
I did. Oh, it was definitely the phase in my life where I was doing that with no hair.
Listen, what did you say?
I think I just like, you know what I mean? Like, just like, you know, like awkward laughter. Oh, you know, and then I just went up and got more like ranch dip with celery sticks or something. You know, just like you just go up and you get more food because I don't want to disillusion him so dramatically that it's going to become an issue for the rest of the trip. And in my head, it's like, I'm not trying to cut family out of my life at this early stage, right? We can wait a couple years for that. Oh, girl. So we still haven't talked, by the way. Not because of that situation, but just because he is an uncle not related by blood. It's like there's a divorce, too. So it's like, you know, I'm not opposed to it, but we don't write each other cards over the holidays. Either.
Well,
there's like a couple levels down.
Yeah, there is, you know, with the distance, I think it's like, oh, if you don't have to engage at that level with someone who doesn't get it, that's kind of a win. You know what I mean?
Right. But I was literally in my American Apparel acid wash deep like plunge V shirt. And
I miss those. Yeah. Those were great.
And my
great
black
terrible company.
Jeans. Great shirt. Yeah, terrible company. R.I.P. And dead to us. And my black skinny jeans with the Hot Topic belt that's just all grommets. So nothing about me is like giving you straight realness.
First of all, I never knew those were called grommets. I always thought they were like weird studs.
Yeah, metal holes.
Oh my God.
Not the studs that poke out, the little like metal holes that you stick the belt thing through. Yeah, those are grommets.
What a look you have.
It was great. It was great. It was definitely like the stuff of e-girl dreams is what I was serving you in 2010.
You know, it is funny because it's like sometimes you're like, I don't even want to deal with it. Like my friends, I think this is cousin or uncle, my friend Ben, shouts to Ben, best friend Ben.
Hey Ben. Whom I still haven't met, so we need to fix that at some point.
Oh my gosh, atrocious. You have to come down here, do burlesque in Miami.
Yes.
Where are you?
We'll see each other from across the bar and it'll just be like Ethel Merman level vibrato. Just
It'll resonate, it'll break all the windows.
Yeah.
So it was like some relative Ben had that was like super homophobic relative that someone that like was at a truck stop and bought a baseball hat with like a little rainbow flag on it because he didn't know
how, but go on.
And he came to like a family gathering and I think he thought it was like the brand. So it was, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, so he was like, oh, this is a brand or something. I don't know.
Oh my God, I love the rainbow connection. You know what I mean? It's
right. And
we do too, because we're
he wore it. He wore it to like a family gathering and no one corrected him because they all were like, well, he's going to figure it out eventually. And like, I love that this family just kind of made a choice that like, well, you can just go on this journey then.
You could just go on this journey.
Because like, you're already there. Like, we don't need to say, what's the point?
But
right?
Everyone's like, but what journey does he think he's on? Because
I know.
We have a lot of questions.
So it's so funny. But honestly, I think like some of the thing, there's some gems that I've heard from my family, and this is all family I don't like stay in touch with. But one of the things that like was really remarkable that I will never forget that really like shifted what I thought about. And it was someone in my family who told me I'm not rich enough to understand why he votes Republican.
Oh.
And I'll never be rich enough, like, to understand.
Well, there's always some reason, right? Like during the protests of last year, it was like, well, they're not protesting the right way. And it's like, spoiler alert, there is no right way. Like, you're never going to be rich enough. We're never going to be respectable enough. There's never going to be a right way to protest, because that's not what it's about.
Well, that's what made it so funny, is he's not rich. So, like, he was yelling and drunk. But what was hilarious about it is, A, he's not rich.
So you're like, sure, Jan.
Right. But, like, also, like, I realized in that moment, I defined family different than him.
Say more about that.
Like, in this moment, he is like, I'm looking out for my family. And in his mind, his family at the time was just him and his wife.
Right.
And in my definition of family, my definition is more broad. My definition of family is you. My definition of family is the Black, queer, trans people in my community that I have never met. My definition of community is bigger, right? So it's my family, right? It's like my immediate family who I love very much, but it's bigger than that. So when I vote for my family. And when he votes for his family.
Yeah.
But his view of family is so narrow. And if I can be totally honest, I think wrong. And my view of my family is my community. Yeah. And it was just this like moment in the yelling where he's just like, I protect my family and you don't get it and you'll never make enough money to understand that. Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, this is fascinating. And I was like, you know what? That will always be and I've used this in multiple conversations with folks who don't understand how I feel the way I feel about the world and about America. Yeah. And I'm like, look, we don't see family the same way. I see family as the people who love me and who I love, even if we don't know each other. Does that make sense?
It does, because shared experience is what brings us together. But for whatever reason, there's a political narrative that narrows focus toward, I mean, I really do feel like they still probably have a sense of like who the good ones and the insiders and the outsiders are, because we all do that as people. Like, we all form a delineation of insiders and outsiders. But to your example, those groups of people that you consider family is a formation of a shared experience around some kind of struggle. Yeah. So like, we understand that what we have with each other, what we hold for each other, is not something we get for free. It's something that we have to fight for, because we're not in a system that is just going to give it to us. Right. And that's a pretty strong bond. Like, for me, that forms a sense of loyalty. It forms a sense of protectiveness. Not protectiveness. Yeah, I mean protective. You get protective of people, right? Right. So yeah, I mean, how do you, but it's really hard to explain that. How do you explain that? Yeah.
Well, I'm like, he shouted a bunch of other things, including like a bunch of homophobic shit about my partner, and we don't talk anymore. And I hope they don't have my address.
Well, shouts. Time for more celery. Time for more ranch.
But like,
ranch
it's fascinating because it's like, I also am like, he has such the attitude of a displaced millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm like, the rest of the world is like, hey, we want social services from our government. And we're like, we don't, because we're going to make it rich. But none of us do. Like, it's very weird. Yeah. And he's the embodiment of that. And he's terrible.
Yeah. Well, who said that quote that like the American, what is it? Anyone can have the American dream, but everyone can't, And then it's like that myth of if you just work hard enough, like you'll get successful in the American system.
Oh my God. If there's one thing I wish I could crush in America, it's the bootstrap narrative. Oh my God. Yep. I just worked so hard and then it happened. Also, back to the protests. I love that you said there's like ask someone who's mad about the protest last year, how you're supposed to protest, and follow up with like at an NFL game. Because I really want to know where the fuck,
where is the line?
Because, Sharon?
Right. Where can you? Because if what you want people to do is just very quietly make some gesture, and even that's not enough, then what are we doing here?
Speaking of gesture, we're getting into my favorite time of year, which is the holiday season, when Brooke, was in the liturgical dance team at St. John the Baptist, and we put on white robes and did Napoleon Dynamite era gestures to spiritual pop songs.
Oh, yeah.
On the altar after communion. So my favorite was Miracles from Prince of Egypt. Very good jam. We did that a bunch.
Intense.
And the Christmas one, this is going to be stuck in your head all night if you already know it, Breath of Heaven by Amy Grant. Do you know that one?
I'm not sure that I do.
It's so bad. Listen to it after. It's just terrible. It's just
great.
Breath of Heaven. It's terrible. That's it. That's the whole song. But
that doesn't sound monotonous at all. Do
Yes,
you remember? So I said I wasn't gonna brush my hair on this program, but it's getting a little bit much. So I'm just excuse me.
What was one of your holiday
Hair
traditions
porn.
when you were a little munchkin? Did
Well-
you have to do anything silly at church?
Well, so I only went to church until I was 5. So I'm definitely
I'm jealous.
I'm an experienced heathen. But do you remember "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land"?
Jams.
From California to the New York Island.
Manifest destiny, one of the biggest myths we were taught as a child. Keep going.
Manifest destiny. It's kind of already mine.
Manifest destiny is terrorism. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, it's actually literally imperialism, and that's not so great.
Imperialism, colonialism, and terrorism.
All the good stuff. So anyway, holiday traditions. I love Christmas. I love secular Christmas. I love celebrating the pagan parts of Christmas. So, like, I'm big into Yule now, but, like, I still can't get away from, like, Santa and the big sack of toys and, like, sack of goodies. The red velvet outfit with the white fur trim. Like, I just love all of it. But the one thing I will not do, where I draw the line, is the nativity scene. I don't put the nativity scene out anymore, but I do put out the giant, gaudy, gold angel statues above the fireplace. I do that. You know what I mean?
There was a really cute, someone shared on Twitter today, this like penguin nativity scene with 2 penguins with a little egg. And I was
That's
like, oh
cute.
my God.
Are
I
they
would
gay?
get that.
Are they
Like,
gay penguins? Because I would definitely.
well,
get the gay
obviously they're gay penguins.
They have to be.
I don't make the rules.
Or else they're going to get canceled by us.
Actually, I do make the rules.
The creepiest tradition about Christmas that I am not here for, fight me, is the elf on the shelf. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It creeps me out.
Where did this, Beth Shopis, shouts to Beth Shopis if she's watching, just put out an Instagram thing on this. People are like, it's not a tradition. It wasn't around when we were kids, was it?
No, it absolutely was not. It was because
People
of
are acting like it was around. It's fascism. It's very uncomfortable.
It's Big Brother, but in like a cute little elf on a shelf, and I'm not.
No, I don't like it.
I'm not featuring it. It's just creeps me out. It's like, you know what's great for Christmas? Surveillance. You know.
Well, I think that's the thing that drives me crazy about it is like, this is back to we're gonna whatever. This isn't like the God thing. This is like the don't do something bad. God's watching, and I'm like, or just don't do something bad.
Yeah.
For adults. Like we
can figure it out.
We shouldn't need like this. Like, oh, he might be watching. I'm like,
yeah.
Or be a good person. Anyways,
right. Or just do it because that's what you're supposed to be doing. But you know, I mean, Santa, he does know when you're sleeping and he knows when you're awake. So
that's why you like him, because he's a needy daddy. That's why you like Santa. Big daddy energy.
No, I like him because he gives me stuff. I only like him so needy. You know what I mean? I have my limits. Like, Mama can only give so much.
Yeah, I know. When he's like,
Mama gets tired.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. That's a lot of pressure.
I just want to sit on Daddy's lap and tell him what I want.
Oh, girl, don't we all?
Don't kink shame me.
Yeah, we're back to kink. I feel like we need to do a kink part 2. I feel like
we do. I heard. Okay, let me leave you with this.
Us.
I heard from a dear friend of mine, whom I think I can name in this particular context. So our dear friend Bryden Shuren, shouts to Bryden, we love you. Bryden said, "Don't yuck somebody's yum."
I like that phrase. Yeah.
I haven't heard that before. I mean, obviously Bryden didn't come up with it, but it's just they said it, and I was just like, I felt something. You know what I mean? Like
I forget where I heard
shifted, and I was ready. My body was ready.
Yeah, I forget where I heard that. I forget where I heard that.
Because it's true. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you should be judgmental about the fact that somebody else does.
Unless you voted for Trump. But that is for another day.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. We got to unpack that later.
I'm kidding. We'll cut it in post.
Well-
This is what happens when I drink bourbon. I'm too political.
Can we cut that out?
Can we cut that out?
No. Oh, I'm just talking
Okay,
to
don't
myself.
yuck somebody's yum unless you participated in January 6th. And if you haven't gone online and read the amazing text messages Laura Ingraham sent the night of the insurrection, go on Twitter right now because they're going viral and they're amazing.
Oh, I am opening a tab right now as we speak.
Girl, I love you.
I love
We're
you
going to keep
too.
dishing on holidays next week. I will bring my Breath of Heaven dance. Your assignment, if you're willing, is to go listen to Breath of Heaven. It's a terrible song.
Oh, I can make that happen.
It's so bad. So that'll be our we'll post the link under the YouTube episode, and we cannot wait to talk more about the holidays next week.
Yeah, 'tis the season. So in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in for Covered Dish, which occurs, dear viewers, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. unless we don't feel like it. You can see all of our prior episodes on our YouTube channel, so subscribe. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram for Dish exclusives and Dish extras. And we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. where we'll cook it up and
Bye,
eat
y'all.
it once again. Bye.